The new upcoming Spider-Man Brand New Day is going to be even crazier, despite of Peter rebuilding his life and finally catching a break after No Way Home. In upcoming Brand New Day, we are finally going to see Ned becoming Hobgoblin, and that scary symbiote cameo we saw at the end of the No Way Home is finally going to pay off. In this video, I'm going to uncover the plot of whole Ned villain arc situation, and if Peter is going to kill his best friend under the influence of symbiote, just like we saw in previous Spider-Man series. For example, in Spider-Man 3, we saw Harry die, and then in the Amazing Spider-Man, played by Andrew, his best friend also died after becoming villain. So, are we going to see similar thing happen with Ned? Considering he said he is not going to become a villain in No Way Home.
I won't turn into a supervillain and try to kill you.
So let's first focus on symbiote situation. Peter Parker enters Brand New Day in a completely different position than most viewers expect. At the end of No Way Home, he chooses to remove himself from everyone's life. He walks away from MJ, from Ned, and even from his own personal connections, knowing that proximity causes danger. The result is that Peter operates alone, but not helpless. He is still Spider-Man, still capable of stopping crimes, still making tactical decisions in real time. The key difference is that no one is around to notice small mistakes, intervene, or warn him when something unusual is happening. Just like Iron Man in first Spider-Man movie, this creates an invisible gap in the MCU world. In previous films, Peter had someone close MJ, Ned, or even Aunt May to provide perspective. That system no longer exists. That sets up a story where Peter is effective as Spider-Man, but blind to the threats forming within his personal circle. By entering Brand New Day this way, Marvel positions Peter as a character who is tactically sound, but emotionally removed, and that creates space for someone like Ned to evolve in a way the audience wouldn't expect. The symbiote's role in Brand New Day is not simply to make Peter more aggressive. In Spider-Man 3, we saw it exaggerate anger and revenge. Here, it will exaggerate focus and control, because Peter is already operating alone and prioritizing results over relationships. With no one to question his methods, Peter can make faster decisions, take bigger risks, and handle multiple threats simultaneously. From a narrative standpoint, this creates tension without visible conflict. The audience can see Peter succeeding while the cracks form around him in other characters' lives. The symbiote is also a narrative tool to explain why Peter might fail to notice subtle changes in people closest to him. In the comics, symbiotes often exploit gaps in attention, feeding on what the host does not notice or value. Applied to the MCU, it could make Peter blinded to Ned's transformation, because his focus is on maintaining order in the city rather than monitoring his friends. But why Ned becomes Hobgoblin? Ned Leeds has all the narrative groundwork to become Hobgoblin, and it is not due to personal malice. In the comics, Ned was a Daily Bugle reporter who investigated the Hobgoblin and got captured. The real Hobgoblin brainwashed him, gave him glider technology and pumpkin bombs, and forced him into the criminal role. Ned was not evil. He was manipulated, framed, and left to shoulder consequences he did not fully understand. The MCU version of Ned already mirrors this setup. He briefly uses magic in No Way Home, showing he has the ability to handle extraordinary forces. He loses Peter as an anchor in his life after the memory spell. He is suddenly navigating gaps in his life, abilities, and purpose without guidance. This makes him vulnerable to being shaped into something he is not, exactly like in the comics. Marvel can use Hobgoblin to show a transformation based on circumstance and manipulation, rather than a change in moral character. The audience sees Ned's potential for threat long before it manifests. If Marvel follows the comic pattern, the Hobgoblin identity allows Ned to act as a decoy or proxy villain. He carries the danger while the real pressure, whether it is from multiverse consequences, symbiote influence, or city threats, remains elsewhere. And this is the same narrative pattern seen in other Spider-Man stories. Harry Osborn's fall in Spider-Man 3 and Peter's best friend in The Amazing Spider-Man show that the MCU has precedent. Someone close to Peter can become the obstacle he fails to prevent, without Peter actively causing it. Now, why it has to be Hobgoblin, not Green Goblin? Marvel has already told the Green Goblin story multiple times. Norman Osborn's arc is about personal hatred, obsession, and legacy. Reusing that character to punish Peter's best friend would feel repetitive and predictable. Hobgoblin is different. Hobgoblin exists to manipulate and control. For Ned, this is a perfect fit. He has access to abilities he cannot fully control, he is isolated from Peter, and he is already exposed to magical and technological forces. By making him Hobgoblin, Marvel creates a situation where someone close to Peter becomes dangerous without ever choosing to be evil. It also allows the story to explore consequences rather than morality. Now will Peter under the symbiote influence can kill Ned? The symbiote's presence amplifies the risk. Peter is focused on stopping threats across the city, while the symbiote optimizes his decisions for efficiency. This is the critical point. Peter does not cause Ned to become Hobgoblin. He simply fails to see the signs in time. As we've seen in past Spider-Man stories, a best friend can become a threat even without direct villainous intent. Harry Osborn's arc in Spider-Man 3 is the precedent, and the Amazing Spider-Man films show a similar pattern with Peter's friends facing tragic consequences. In Brand New Day, the combination of Peter's isolation, Ned's growing capabilities, and the symbiote's focus creates a situation where Ned is almost guaranteed to fill the Hobgoblin role. It is a result of structural failure, not moral corruption, which makes the narrative more grounded and the threat more credible. Sadie Sink's character introduces an important contrast in Brand New Day. Where Ned represents someone Peter cannot protect, she represents someone he can connect with safely. She interacts with Spider-Man without relying on Peter Parker's personal history, which allows her to remain stable while Ned falls into danger. Some fans speculate that her character could be Felicia Hardy, also known as Black Cat. If that is the case, her presence adds a strategic dimension. She would be skilled, independent, and capable of acting alongside Spider-Man without relying on Peter for guidance. That makes her a natural foil to Ned. Where Ned becomes reactive and manipulated, Felicia's independence allows her to influence the story actively, potentially helping Peter without being emotionally compromised by past events. This contrast emphasizes the stakes in the narrative. One character adapts and maintains agency. One character is shaped by circumstance and external forces. From a storytelling perspective, Sadie Sink as Felicia, or a Felicia-inspired character, provides a clear visual and emotional indicator of how proximity, influence, and guidance determine outcomes in Peter's world. It shows the audience that Spider-Man's decisions ripple outward, his absence can destabilize someone close, while a new self-sufficient ally can navigate the same world safely. Brand New Day may look like a fresh start for Spider-Man, but it is more than that. It is a story about consequences. Ned becoming Hobgoblin and the symbiote's influence are not random. They are part of a chain reaction caused by isolation, magical exposure, and the choices Peter makes as Spider-Man. Subscribe now to stay updated on all Spider-Man developments and to catch every theory, breakdown, and hidden connection before the next movie drops.